We continue with our session. Today we wrap up balance forces. Next week we zoom to a different chapter. It's still in the same series of flowing at our force. And as I said, the whole year about transcendence, transurfing. I don't know if anyone wants to refresh us on what we captured last week. Anyone at all? Anyone at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think last week was vitality service. But I think you did a recap on the sacred life of balance, where you did reiterate the fact that everything in life is taking equilibrium. So every time an imbalance appears in the system or anywhere in the body, corrective forces kicks in to establish equilibrium. And that is why when you give overly importance to something, it's either taken away from you or you lose it in a way, one way or the other, for balance to be restored. And it's not in the bed to cause you harm, but it's in the bed to restore balance or to establish equilibrium. As we have established in the past that all things work together for our good. In that sense, so much as some things might not seem the way we want it, it is nature or corrective forces that have kicked in to establish equilibrium for our own good. Yeah. So all of life is about balance. It's about equilibrium. And then whenever we put too much energy somewhere, some way, somehow, restoration has to happen. And so the system or the universe finds its own way to correct it for our own good. Yeah, I think basically that is what it was about. Restoring equilibrium. Yeah. That's what I got from last week.
Hmm. The weight of one who pretends. With all of these, the intent is not to give us another tool or some extra tools to put in our box. or to add to our collection of knowing. Because there's nothing to add, as I keep saying. If there is, it's more of what to take away. The false weight we have been carrying by way of identities and everything that we consider to be me. The me that is always worried, the me that is trying to prove a point, the me that is striving to become something, the seeker who appears to be almost there, the one who is always hurt and upset by something, who keeps rehearsing the same stories and rehearsing the same wounds, and or the spiritual one trying to be free. Beloved, because we have this promise, let us put aside every weight and the sin which so easily beset us. What confuses your identity? You have played these roles for so long. We no longer identify them as roles, we see them as acts, we call them our life. As for me, this is how. As for me, this is how I do my thing. They become traps. And that's why he tells them, "We heard your voice in the dark, in the dark or in the garden, and we were afraid. Who told you you were me?" Who told you? I think these sessions over the last 3 weeks can also be seen. I've subtly tagged them why life feels heavy, because excess potential is what makes life feels heavier than it really is. So it is important for us to consider this. So we even treat awakening as a process, as something that is awaiting us, meant to happen in the future. We are becoming awake, we are waking up gradually, we are waking up in step. We sit, we breathe, we watch our thoughts, we read books, engage in these sessions, affirmation, and still quietly be waiting for a day when we become more spiritual, when we become really powerful, when we become finally free. That in itself is another trap I was talking about this last week. What if your deepest self is never bound and you are just living in the prison of your own mind, seeing yourself bound? I think that's where excess potential becomes spiritual weight. The moment you believe that you are incomplete, life will have to find a way to load you with impossible outcomes and impossible import. To begin to do something so that you can bridge the gap of that inadequacy, of that incompletion. That's when you feel you need a relationship to be complete, you need another breakthrough to be. You need that money, you need this title, you need that, you need that, you need that. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So the challenge and the things that appear missing. The challenge is the one who thinks that something is missing. I like that one. I like that. The one who is thinking that there's something missing. And then we're trapped in suffering because our identities become so heavy. And we can't feel the liberty that we are. The freedom that is finding expression. Do we pray? This takes a shade even when it comes to what we refer to as spirituality. You know, as Christians who do that. We loaded the person of Christ, the story, put so much significance, so much overly loading it with importance. And then life happens in a way that feels like it's taking it away from us. And that's when our ego turns awakening into performance. So it makes we create experience we create over importance to the things that we experience. It makes us feel that you are better than the other person. You are sat on the top tier. They are unconscious. Makes your calling, your ministry important. You know, your revelation makes it important. The ritual identity, I'm a guru, I'm a mystic, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. You know, I'm profound, I'm wise. All of these things subtle makes the ego inflated, making me feel chosen, making me feel better than the other person, making me feel you're doing something that the other is not doing. Making you feel even important that you are different. You think you are different from other people. It makes you feel important. That you are not like this person, you are not like that person. You don't think this way like they think. I'm just trying to open us up to some of the traffics. We can spot the little foxes. So that's why the very path that is meant to free us becomes another form of bondage. See? So you're no longer seeking truth. You're seeking a confirmation that you're special. You're seeking a confirmation that you've gotten it. You're seeking a confirmation that you are now the ish. Okay. When you communicate, when you speak, sometimes when I talk and I close my eyes, I remind myself of what is important. I was saying this, that is a very Like I listen to, and sometimes how my encounters, my experience with other people, or with people who are also supposedly in this space, or I don't even want to call it this journey. And you hear that a lot of us, when we express ourselves, we aren't expressing ourselves from the place of presence. And there is a very hard attempt at maintaining a certain image or maintaining an image. So why do we even pray? You pray to commune, or you pray so that you can establish or have control over undesirable outcomes, over events, so that you can dictate events in a way that you like. You can carve events after your preference. That's what the prayer has become. Praying for something or praying against something. I'm not sure if I'm making sense. Charlie, yeah, bro. And we have become good at even using spiritual language to hide, the way. You're hiding behind words. And you are having a form of godliness, denying the power thereof. But the law of balance is precise. As I was saying last week, the law of balance is not afraid of your spiritual vocabulary. It's not intimidated by it. The moment importance gets inflated, balance forces will move in without permission. We level the playing ground. See? Another trapping where someone where you can even feel arrogant about your humility. The fact that you see yourself as a humble person can become another trap. And now, because you see yourself as a humble person, everything you do, you are playing to that idea of you being a humble. That for me is arrogance. Forcing an identity. A river doesn't need to boost that it flows. It just flows. And once we understand that nothing outside of us can complete us, nothing outside of being can complete being. So, if there's one thing that creates excess potential, we have established this. It is mistaken identity. There's nothing that exists outside of consciousness. But if I relay consciousness here as a subjective awareness, then nothing outside of consciousness can complete consciousness. So let me just bore you again with what I've already said. When I get this, I'll be whole. Lie. When they love me, I'll be secure. Lie. When I get this job, I'm going to be all right. Lie. When I succeed, I'll be worthy. That's a lie. When this condition changes, I will have peace. That's a lie. It's not true. Because being cannot be completed by becoming. Being just is. Until you identify that you are going to keep yourself entrapped in this endless loop. I'm not saying becoming is meaningless, but becoming must be an expression of being, not replacing it. We aren't here to use life to become real. But we are here to express reality of what we are through life. And for me, this is the shift from force to flow. When you forget being, you chase. But when you remember being, when you remember that you are, that awareness only causes you to choose in agreement, in alignment with what you already are. So when you forget being, desire becomes hunger, for instance. Hungry for this and hungry for that. This must happen, that might happen. And when you remember being, desire only becomes directed. When you forget being, love becomes possession. When you remember being, love can only be present. When you forget being, the work you do becomes a self-proof of your abilities and your capabilities. But when you remember being, work is just a contribution to the enhancement and the expansion of life. When we forget being, spirituality becomes performance. When we become aware of being, spirituality is only radiance. It's just what I am exuding, expressing, radiating, finding its magnificence, finding its significance, finding its dominance, whatever you want to call it. It's just this. Not trying to be anything. And that is where we need to reframe it in a more sacred fashion. Excess potential. Last week we talked about how it means to kind of mute it. It reduces when the soul stops asking the world to complete what is already whole in God. And that is the place we need to come to. Knowing that we are whole. Are we clear? Last week, I think, or the week before, I was sharing this with the boys and the kids. And I thought it's something that kind of aligns with what we're learning here, and the need to maybe keep that in for our benefit. In this adult space, and it's I read Lao Tzu. I studied the Tao Te Ching, and Lao Tzu captures the wisdom of water. Still talking about fluid and form. The softness of water. You see, you can take a sword, for instance, and slash through water. The water won't find that. Yeah. And once the object that obstructs it goes through it, it still returns to what it always been. Nothing disturbed. So our world teaches us that we have to be hard, we need to resist, we need to persist, we need to fight. So we keep building rigid structures, we set rigid goals, and we build very, very heavy walls around our emotions, trying to protect ourselves. And sometimes we even believe that being soft is a liability. We believe that the one who is the most stubborn, the one who is the most rich, the one who is the most forceful wins. But is that true? Is that the case? The Tao Te Ching has been around for over 4,000 years. It's one that changed Eastern philosophy. I'm not sure if any one of us has seen Bruce Lee video where he talks about be water. Obviously, it's borrowed directly from the Tao Te Ching. And I love that. I love the analogy because it makes perfect sense. Because I relate this spirituality with water and the wind. I've got a lot to convey. And it's not just poetry. I've come to accept that it's a precise blueprint of how to live. See, and when I look at world leaders, political leaders, carry or conduct themselves in a way that appears macho, appears strongman, behind it, I see how that is just a form of hidden fragility. They are just fragile. Why do I say that? So the story goes like when Lao Ju was obviously lived in the time during the most violent era of ancient China, where for over 2 centuries the fractured communities or the fractured states of China were locked in a brutal struggle for dominance. So there was this fight and constant pushing, constant resistance. And this man started with observation and came up with a philosophy that diffuses that with the intention of introducing harmony, which is effortless flow of power. Because the entire world around was caught in rigidity. Everything is full. So even in our world now, to be soft is seen as considered weakness. See? And when someone yields, they're seen as though they are always surrendered. So that is what brought Lao Tzu, and obviously it makes sense to me. I'll probably also say that is what has brought me to the flaw in human logic, where we all constantly pouring energy into becoming harder, stronger, more rigid, more robust, more unbending, but forgetting that the harder you are, sometimes the more brittle you are. Cast iron, very hard, but breaks easily at the same time. Copper, soft, ductile, very difficult to break. You see. So you take a very heavy sword, for instance, and you can strike it against a wall. Yeah, a strong sword, you strike it against the wall. Over time, it bends, either bends or it gives away. And one symbol that captures flowing without force for me It's water. I intentionally put the water in the background because of what I want to talk about. As I was saying earlier on, someone, if you all know this, even if you drive your hand through water, it parts, and the moment the hand passes whatever section of the water it is, it falls back up as if nothing has ever happened. It doesn't resist. It does not even need to fight back. The only one who becomes tired is the one who is constantly, effortlessly trying to cut water. The water doesn't get tired. You strike, it passes, it feels like you're winning. Once your hand goes through it or whatever object you're using to pass goes, it comes back together. Powerful. Powerful. But I just want to highlight a few patterns, because this is in essence closing our session on balance forces. So, or can anyone at all, in fact, let's do it this way. Can anyone at all just, let's throw a few thoughts around. You can type in the chat if you want, on some of the patterns or some of the qualities of water that we know about. Not that it's tasty or it's for continuous test. No.
Water is colorless.
It's colorless, okay. Yeah, apparently.
Well, water is, like you said a lot of times, it flows easily without any effort.
Yeah. If thinking of it, I think of persistence. Already mentioned that. Of a force. And I believe it's in chapter 43 of the Tao Te Ching. That the softest things in the world overcome the hardest thing in the world. So, like, you think of how we try to solve problems sometimes. If there is a massive stone wall in front of you, the tendency will be to grab a sledgehammer and try to break it through, to strike it through, and that will require a lot of effort. But if the wall is thick and strong enough, could probably break the hammer, and the one who was swinging it, who was swinging the hammer, will eventually collapse from exhaustion. And water will use a different principle. It does not depend on sudden force, gravity, and time. See? Classic experiment. If you like, leave your kitchen tap on or a bath tap on dripping, put a cork in, okay? Leave it on dripping overnight and see how much water it collects by the morning. Canyons have been cut just by water. This constant drop of water at the same spot. That spot will eventually give way. That's how water breaks dams. Not with force, but with persistence. Single drop falling in the same place consistently can cut through stone. There's a lot of evidence of that around us. Given time, water has been known to carve canyons in the earth. consistent. Can talk about formlessness in the absence of the ego, which I had already mentioned. So, we suffer, and I'm always talking about ego because we suffer from this as humans, because we build rigid identities. So, I'm the boss, I'm successful, I'm always right, which was one of my very bad ones. Realized my addiction to being right, and I always wanted to be right. Life opened me up, and I understood that I don't need to be. I'm this kind of person. I cannot change this. It's just who I am. So everything to solidify the ego, to play to the ego's dictates is what we do. But then life can change in ways that we don't appreciate. You lose a job, a relationship comes to an end, someone disagrees with you, a plan that you've had fails, a season shifts, and suddenly this rigid identity no longer fits the environment, it no longer holds. And that is life teaching us something. Water doesn't suffer in this way because it's not rigid, it has no fixed shape. It takes on the shape of whatever you put in, or whatever it's put. Pour water into a cup, it becomes a cup. Pour it into a bottle, it becomes a bottle. It doesn't fight its container, it only adapts. This has taught me something. And by adapting, it doesn't lose its nature, it doesn't lose its essence. It's still S. You pour water from a fixed mug into a polythene bag, the water is still water, it just takes on the shape of the polythene bag. If you want it in a cup, you can pour it in a cup and have the shape of the cup. Very fluid. So likewise, if we can let go of our rigid egos, we can stop demanding that life fits the exact shape of our personal identities. Then circumstances which appear to have broken us will no longer break us so easily. The fact that you are flexible doesn't mean you are losing yourself. Doesn't mean that. It is actually freedom from the false self that needs or requires everything to happen in one particular way. I gave this example last week again, I think 2 weeks ago. So we've talked about the pattern of persistence, we talked about the pattern of relaxing and letting go of the ego, or as it's called, formlessness. And last week I mentioned this and I'll repeat it again: stillness and the muddy pool analogy. So we can compare the human mind to a pool of water. When we are anxious, when we are angry, when you're feeling overwhelmed, the water of the mind becomes agitated, gets muddy. The mud at the bottom gets stirred up and it gets cloudy. So usually what happens when you are anxious? What happens? When you're anxious, what happens? You're gonna force to try, you try to force yourself to calm down, isn't it? Yeah. You try to now trying to suppress your emotions, suppress your thought. You try to fix the mind by interfering with the mind. But trying to force an anxious mind into stillness is like placing your hand, I gave this analogy last week, and I'll say it again because there's no depth from it. It's like placing your hand into muddy water and trying to push the depth to the bottom. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. The more you interfere, the cloudier the water becomes. There's only one way to clear muddy waters. Leave it alone. Go away. Leave it alone. Effortless action, no forcing. You stop interfering. You observe without getting agitation. And then that's one of the hardest and toughest things for us. We struggle with silence. No activity, no words makes us uncomfortable. We struggle to observe without agitation. And when you allow the water to settle by its own nature, then when the muddy water is left still, gravity will do its work. The depth sinks to the bottom and the water becomes clear again. And when the water becomes still, it becomes the mirror that reflects reality as it is. It's as simple as that. It can't be any simpler to be. Because a still mind does not distort the world through fear, through ego, through panic, through projection. It simply sees clearly. That's why I say, when a conscious mind is still and quiet, the wisdom of the subconscious mind rises to the surface. It's the mind that is at peace that always finds the answers. Be still. Are we clear to this point?
Yep.
We can also look at the phases of the valley. So we understand how water works. We can look at where water goes. If you observe, so all water bodies on land flow to the sea, don't they? Isn't it? All waters inland are trying to find their way to the sea. Is that true? Our observation of rivers, streams highlights one law to me. Water does not fight gravity. Water observes gravity. It doesn't climb. Yes. Water will rise if constricted in a tube. It will rise to find a level. But when it comes to flow, it looks for the lowest place. It looks for the lowest point. It follows the path of least resistance. It flows downwards. And it benefits all things without competing within. Water will move to places that people reject. So it is close, it's the closest to the life principle or the living principle or the Tao, whichever way you want to call it. But as humans, often we are terrified of our low places. So the modern metaphor is built around, our modern culture is built around a metaphor of highness, on mountaintop experiences. We don't like the valley. We speak of climbing ladders, reaching the peaks, being on the top of our game, phrases like that, rising above others and achieving high status. So We spend much of life fighting gravity, climbing on top of others. But the brutal truth is this. See, when you look at mountains, often the peak or the top of the mountain is often without vegetation, isn't it? It appears not much, not a lot happens on top of mountains. But then, and it feels exposed, it feels isolated. Very little grows on top of a mountain. But when you look in the valley is not trying to become the peak. It rests in the low place. Because it's low, the waters from the mountains naturally flow to it. And it receives nourishment. And that is where life happens. Someone shared with me some videos in the Amazon forest. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I've not seen anything like that. In the depths, in the lows, life bounces. Greenery, vegetations, life forms that are not seen anywhere else happens. That's what makes the sea the king of 100 streams and 100 rivers. Because it lies below them, so they all flow to it. True power, I dare say, is not found on the top of the mountain. True power is found in the valley. When you drop the ego, you stop fighting for status, when you serve without competing, when you live without yielding to the dictates of the ego, something extraordinary happens in your life. You stop becoming a threat to others and yourself. You stop generating unnecessary friction. And because you are not competing, no one can truly compete with you. No one can compete with you if you are not competing. May that zone find each and every one of us. I think that's what the scripture means when it says God opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. Humility is spiritual intelligence. Should I stop here? Because I kill your time.
I'm all right.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm good. Yes, if I focus on the screen for too long, my eyes, I just look at.
No, it's fine. That's why you probably need glasses. I'll get you the glasses. Yeah. Just stop the race. No, I mean at least reduce it. Are there any questions? In our world today, it appears that in our cultures, it appears that we have forgotten the physics of water. We spend our lives trying to be the rock. We try to be hard, we try to be rigid, we try to be untouchable, we try to be unbreakable. When life doesn't match the plan in our head, our instinct is to apply more force. Grit our teeth, we lose sleep, we try to smash through obstacles with willpower. And someone criticizes us, the ego, our ego hardens. We raise our walls, we argue back, we want to meet force with force. And what happened? The impact wounds us. Relationships get broken, anxiety consumes us, the mind becomes exhausted. And then we tie because we are wearing this heavy or these heavy iron armors in a world that requires us to just swim and glide and graze along. We take some time in coming weeks and look or extensively look into how to practice Wu Wei. Come water. So I'm in a space now where if someone kind of attacks me with anger, I do not become the stone wall that their anger crashes again. I just stay the open space. It just goes through and disappears. Yielding inwardly. Let the rage and anger of people pass through without giving it any solid target. So long as you put yourself in the way, it will hit you. If there's nothing rigid in me for the anger, for the rage of another man to strike, eventually the anger will lose its force and dissipate, won't it? You see? I don't think water is sat there becoming depressed because there's a wall in its way. It doesn't call itself a failure because there's a dam in its way or there's a block in its way or anything of the sort, or there's an obstacle in its way. It simply finds another route and flows around the obstacle or the obstruction. Adapting to reality without losing our essence. That's what I'm talking about. Staying formless. When your mind is racing at night, you lying on your bed thinking how to take your family on holiday, how to pay the bills. Muddied with anxiety, with fears. Stop trying to force your mind into silence because it doesn't work. We don't fight thought with thought. So I've said this over and again. Leave the muddy water alone. Let the lake, let the stream become still. Observe whatever the anxiety is without becoming it. And let the mud settle. Are you with me? Let's get this music back on. Are you with me? So as I wrap up, I personally don't think you need to be hard to be strong. Drop the ego, yield to the present moment and flow into the valleys of life. Become far more resilient than the rigid self that must constantly defend the ship. Borrow the words of life, was God allows you exactly. He says that nothing in the world is soft and yielding as well. Yet, for dissolving the hard and the inflexible, nothing can surpass or beat them. The water that casts canyons into stones doesn't win because it becomes stone. It wins because it becomes unyielding. It wins because it remains true to its nature. It adapts, it persists, it descends, it nourishes, it reflects, and it flows. This is no weakness. This, in my opinion, is the highest source of strength. And that is how we neutralize balance forces. That's how we absorb ourselves from creating excess potential. That's how we align with the dictates of life to find equilibrium. That's how we learn to get out of our own way. That's how we learn to stay grounded. And that's how we carry them. Are there any questions? I'll leave us with a confirmation practice for the week. It's very simple. Most of my practices, I always seek to find simplicity to whatever practice it is. The simpler, the more powerful. So watch for the feelings of heaviness. Many as you can identify. What are you identifying as heavy? Not importance, I mean heavy, as we have come to define it. The tightness in the chest, the repeated thoughts that doesn't go away. That urgency that cannot relax or breathe. The dread or the fear you have of certain outcome. Certain fantasies we have that says that only this thing will save me if it happened. You know, that rage and that anger of this must not be, this must not happen. That shame that feels like, oh, if someone hears of this, if someone sees this, I'm finished. Or no one, like DJ K, that fear. Eventually when it happens, it's happened. It's come out. And then to what? You see, apparently he's been paying monies for years and being stressed about it. Now it's out there in the open, everyone knows. Son. Done. Nothing more to it. So when you notice it, when you notice whatever heaviness this is, just pause. Or, a partner that's being overbearing, whatever. When you notice it, just pause. And laugh this. You place your hand over your chest if it helps, and just ask yourself very simple. What have I made too heavy? What am I asking this person, this result, what's called this result, this object, this circumstance, prove? What am I afraid I become if this does not happen? What is the actual fact aside the story that I've had? Remember, we talk about facts and stories. How can I act cleanly without feeding this pressure? Ask yourself those questions, let us and then you can calmly say, I return this matter to its rightful weight. I release excess important. I remain centered in a presence that cannot be reduced by an outcome, that cannot be altered by an outcome. Choose clear action over anxiety or anxious thoughts. I choose alignment over pressure. I choose flow without fall. Just allow this to be your inner work. And do it not just once, just repeat it until you feel as light as you can possibly be. Because often excess potential is a habit of consciousness. It's because we have practiced it. It has been rehearsed repeatedly. And we have inherited it and added it to our identity. Sometimes, we did speak about egregores, pendulums. And sometimes the challenge is not even just us, but the ideals or environments that has been formalized and normalized by families, workplaces, churches, cultures, survival patterns that everybody does it. And we don't even realize that we overly know important. It's not a call to shame yourself over anything, but to just get awakened. We are not being called to stop loving life, but rather to stop loading our lives with the burden of our conditioned or forgotten identities. Care, but do not clutch. Desire, but do not become a prison to your desire. Work, but do not become a sacrifice on the altar of work. Love without possession. Prepare without panicking. Pray without begging from separation. And by all means build, but don't make what you build the proof of your being or the proof of your existence. The world is not heavy by itself. Life is simple. Life is easy. It's people that are complete. Much of the heaviness we feel is the weight of exaggerated meaning, exaggerated importance, unresolved fears, misplaced identities. These are the things which it does. And your soul knows when something has become too heavy or too important. It knows it. You can't hide away from it. If your spirit is heavy, it's heavy. You can't pretend. It's the realest place you can ever be. It gives you feedback instantly. The agitations, the anxiety you feel within you tells you. Because it becomes tired, it becomes restless, it becomes controlling. You get defensive, and you are afraid of silence because you are even afraid of not thinking about that thing, because you feel that not thinking about it means you are not doing anything about it, and something is not going to happen, and something is going to go wrong, and you're just in that constant. It's draining. Become addicted to sound. Spiritual people always after something phenomenal, something sensational. And of God, what is God saying? God is saying, shut up and grow up. You get restless. But when importance softens, the soul becomes light again. It doesn't have any choice but to be. So that is where you hit the zone of be careful for nothing. It's not being careless, it's just light, not passive light. Detached, like a bird. Blah. You know, a bird is very light. It can easily get carried away by the wind. but he knows how to fly across the sky. He knows how to use the wind to fly across the sky. Done. Are there any questions or any addition? Okay, could you please disperse this without charge for August?
Sorry?
Charge for August.
No. To read it.
No, I didn't say read it.
What did you say?
Bless us with it.
Okay. I didn't hear you. All right. I shall close our eyes if you can.
If you need to refer to it, it's absolutely fine. But, yeah.
Eternal presence, living wisdom, sacred breath moving through all creation. We awaken to your abiding reality within and around us. We stand in reverence before the unseen order that sustains every season, every soul, and every unfolding moment. In this season of sacred stewardship, we align ourselves with the quiet intelligence by which all things nature in their appointed time. We embrace discernment over haste, responsibility over possession, and refinement over excess. We honor what has ripened within us, release what has fulfilled its purpose, and prepare our hearts for the next movement of life's unfolding. We affirm wisdom tempered by humility, discernment sharpened by stillness, and abundance held as trust, not possession. We affirm the courage to refine what no longer serves, and the gratitude to steward what does. We walk in wisdom, we serve with compassion, we receive with gratitude. We give with integrity. We become faithful guardians of every gift entrusted to us, and living instrument of peace wherever our path leads. It is established. And so we say together, and so it is. Amen.
Goddess Ireland. O ye ancient orders and elements, whom we call, and you hearken unto your call, or unto our call. Your work of perfection, wholeness and soundness is done. That our aspiration to ask for your departure. We pray that you continue in your work of excellence to all of mankind. Wakes up to the divinity about our human. Then and only then will you have the license to depart. Until then, live, gloriously express and expand and give praise to the very end. Amen. Peace, as all of us. Bye-bye.